Hello, everybody. My name is The Political Kid, and I'm very sorry that I wasn't able to get to you guys on Thursday because I was doing a lot of stuff and I had a great Christmas, and I hope all of you did too. It has been almost a year since my channel has begun, and I will make another video for my anniversary of this channel tomorrow, and it's just been such a great journey to have all these people watching my videos, subscribing, and even sharing it with other people. So, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed it for the past year. But anyway, to the topic of this video. So, if you know me and if you really know my channel, I am a political commentator, and I wish to do that on a more national level. I want to do that on some aspects, but and reach a wider audience because I feel that some of the ideals of kind of the moderate side of American politics has been kind of forgotten about in a lot of certain aspects, and it's great to bring some of those more ideals and not to bring them, but to show them to the American people more, especially in a polarized time in America. But also, I have made many suggestions that I could also run for political office and not just commentate on it. And one of the few things I do want to say is if I were to get into that field, I would want to be a like a creature of Washington. Somebody who would be able to call on the senators or congressmen and then just get them, convince them in any sort of way. Like, probably one of our best legislative presidents. I mean, he was a pretty bad president, but one of the best legislative presidents, LBJ. He was able to pass many legislative agendas, like the Civil Rights Act, a lot of economic acts, and also just, yeah. And through his kind of ideals, I learned that the Senate is probably one of the most moderate places there are in America. The reason being is that a lot of our representatives in DC are really proportionate, like really representing of their state. I mean, or of their district. I mean, of course they are. They're representatives. But if you're a senator, you represent a whole state, which means you have to be moderate on a just to begin with on a lot of aspects, unless you're like in a very conservative or like super liberal state. Most senators are considered moderate, but they vote in a way that their party votes for. And that's kind of the problem since we don't have a lot of party, what cross party votes anymore. Even if you hear, oh, three representatives are supporting like extending Obamacare, or Republicans are willing to work with Democrats to support Obamacare. Yeah, that's cool and all. That's three. And that's also not accounting for the Senate, which is half of the process to actually vote in an extension for Obamacare. And that kind of idealism is pretty bad because we want to make sure that we're able to kind of get these legislative agendas in because, one, it'll look really good for the American people and like other countries that we're actually getting stuff done, and also that we be able to work together on a lot of issues. Obviously, there's many moderate Republicans who would be willing to vote on certain healthcare laws that would kind of still extend those Obamacare programs because, I mean, we've kind of entrenched a lot of healthcare aspects in our country. Even though our healthcare system sucks, we still have this system where the government does spend money to help people with their healthcare. However, with more polarization, it's been getting harder and harder for these kind of party switching ideals to kind of be in Congress. Obviously, Obamacare was voted in by all Democrats, but a lot of Democrats were moderate Democrats because of the 2008 Congress elections. And because of that, there was a lot of moderate support just overall. and then a lot of skepticism from independents and conservatives, which kind of started in a way the polarization. Because before that, you had a lot of acts and legislation during the War of Terror period that had a lot of cross party support, like the Iraq War, which a lot of Democrats did vote for, even though there wasn't as much evidence. It was just a very patriotic time where supporting the president, George W. Bush, at that time was considered really valuable in American politics. Because of that, I would be kind of willing to go further into the Senate, since the Senate is probably the biggest office you could have other than the vice presidency and the presidency. And because of that, to kind of get a experience level agenda on my end so I could provide my ideals to a potential broader audience and just try to pass laws and stuff that would help, and at least in my opinion, help a lot of people, I would probably run for the Senate for the Republican Party. And before a lot of moderates and Democrats go against me for this, I've stated before, I'm a moderate Republican. I support a lot of socially progressive ideals, but I'm economically conservative, and because of that, I cannot support Democrats, so I am kind of de facto Republican in an aspect. So because of that, it's going to be a really hard journey. I live in a very liberal state, and to kind of climb up the ladder, I'd probably have to move to a district, more rural district in my state, run for representative maybe when I'm older, then run for the Senate, and then, I mean, just see how it goes. But this kind of, I like, I can bet that 80% of Americans cannot name their state senators, and 85% of Americans probably can't name their district representatives. That's a problem when they're one of the most powerful people in the American system, because they could create laws and vote on laws that affect everybody in this nation. So because of that, I want to make sure that the media gets more coverage on Congress. International attention goes on Congress, because a lot of these partisan ideals kind of go not that far when there's a polarized Congress and not a good deal amount of senators and representatives who would be willing to vote for the other party. That's a bad thing. We should be having a system where, like, we could propose a more moderate agenda. We could have cross support, so we can include measures that would help out probably most people that would be affected by this law. And we could have those types of discussions, but the media does not cover this. There's not a lot of tension or risk to a lot of Senate and representative seats because they get no attention at all. If there was attention, like a quarter amount on Congress, like that there is on the presidency, congressmen would be passing laws all the time and trying to moderate their positions because they have all this attention. But we don't bring attention to these issues because they're in a position where the media doesn't cover them. They don't stand out, so they aren't voted out. And they don't want to cause tension within their own party, because if they do that, then they'll be voted out by their own party. That is terrible. We should be having a system where the media reports on Congress more often, where there's more moderate agendas being passed and there's more cross-party support. And for those reasons, I'd be willing to run for Congress, bring attention to this, be a political commentator and kind of have this idealism, so I'm able to project my ideas and my solutions to some of the problems we have in our government. So you could not like me for where I stand on my positions, but obviously, thank you for watching. That's kind of my announcement in a way that I'm going to be a little bit more political than I've actually been lately, since I want to get into more gritty aspects of politics that there are. And you could say, oh, you're just a kid, you shouldn't be focusing on this stuff. Buddy, if I'm not focusing on this stuff early, when there's not a great chance that if I were to like run an election, Senate election, and probably not win, I have to start very early so I could prepare a lot so I might have the chance to show my opinions to this country and the world. So that's gonna be it. Thank you all for watching. Obviously, this might not happen, but I just wanted to convey my ideas. Thank you all, and I'll see you next time.